Good morning, good morning. Good morning, Mr. Joseph. Can you hear me? How are you today? Sure you had a blissful weekend. You all are welcome to today's live stream. You're welcome, you're welcome. Victory, good morning. Please confirm the sound is okay and you can also see my screen. Confirm you can see my screen and also the sound is okay. Mr. Raphael, good morning. Good morning. If there's any pair you're considering trading today, please let us know in the comment section what that pair is. If there's any pair you're considering trading today, let us know in the comment section what that pair is so that we can look at it together. If you have any question, drop it in the comment section. Good morning, good morning. I want to believe you guys are prepared for this week. You're prepared for this week. That it shall be a profitable week for every one of us. It shall be a profitable week. Okay, Mr. Raphael, USD USDJPY. Okay, Mr. Victory, GU. Okay, we'll look at that in a few minutes. So let's start with the fundamentals. I think there are no major news today. Today is Monday, so there are no major news today. It's tomorrow we're expecting major news from Great Britain and also CAD. Okay, so no major news for today market. Okay. So let's look at DXY. What is the trend on DXY? What can you see on DXY? I'd like to know your take on DXY. We are viewing the DXY 4-hour time frame. What is your take on DXY? Or let's start with the weekly time frame. What is your take on DXY for this week? What is your take? Let us know. Are you bullish or bearish on DXY this week? Let us know. What is your take on DXY? I'm waiting for your response. What's your take on DXY? Mr. Raphael says bearish. Okay. So as we can see on DXY, last week closed strongly bearish and it closed below a key level, a support level, turn resistance. Okay. It closed, broke out from a support level, a key support level turn resistance. You can see this was a support at this point, and also at this point had a support here, and last week broke out that support zone, or you call it your demand zone. You can see that. Okay, that should tell you that the dollar is still very bearish. The dollar is still very bearish. So that's what we have on the weekly time frame. Let's go down to the next lower time frame, which will be daily time frame. So you can also see last Friday candle also closed strongly bearish, right? Strongly bearish. That tells you it's bearish. Okay. Now let's go down to 4. After the close of last week candle, what pattern do we have on 4-hour time frame? So here we had an hammer, right, which indicates change in trend from bearish to bullish. But as you see on 4-hour also, DXY has been bearish since the market opened. It's been bearish. Okay, this was the first candle for the day. This was the first candle for the day. A doji formed, and after the formation of the doji, the next candle that closed bearish. Okay, it closed bearish after clearing the liquidity residing at this previous low. So I think what they've done this morning, is to clear the liquidity residing at the low of Asian session. This is the low of Asian session. So they have cleared the liquidity residing at that low. Okay, so let's go down to 1 hour. Though DXY is bearish, I want to see DXY pull back. Okay, I want to see it pull back, probably to test this broken support stone resistance. That's my expectation on DXY. Okay, that's my expectation on DXY. I want to see it pull back to test this broken support stone resistance. Okay, so let's go down to 1 hour. Liquidity has been cleared. 4-hour time frame is the low of the Asian session. Okay, then on 1 hour, you can see the pattern we have on 1 hour. You can see the low on 1 hour, which was an area of liquidity. This morning, price went down to clear the liquidity residing at this previous low. Can you see that? And the pattern we have here on 1 hour, though this is not a valid bullish reversal pattern. This is a valid bullish reversal pattern. But let's just see what we have on 15 minutes. If we are able to identify a bullish reversal pattern on 15 minutes, then I think we should expect buys on USD on DXY today. So you can see what we have on 15 minutes time frame. Can you see this? We had this is a bottom and the next candle closed bullish after liquidity cleared. Okay, so there is a possibility for for DXY to go bullish. Okay, so you can see a tiny fair value gap was created here. Can you see this tiny fair value gap that was created here? Price pulled back to fill that fair value gap, and after filling that fair value gap, a doji candle indicating change in trend from sells to buy. Can you see that? Now price has come back to fill that fair value gap. Okay, it's come back to test that fair value gap. Probably it wants to clear the low of this doji, because the low of this doji is an area of liquidity. You know, a lot of people would have executed buy after the formation of this doji, and their stop losses will be at this low. So it's most likely they just want to come clear the liquidity residing at before going bullish. So at what point should you go for buys on DXY? I would suggest you wait for price to break out from this resistance zone on 15 minutes time frame. If a 1 hour candle closes above this resistance zone, I think that will be the right time to consider buying DXY. Okay, this zone. This is my supply zone on 15 minutes at the moment. So you want to wait for price to break out from this resistance before you go bullish, or you wait for a bullish reversal pattern to form on 1 hour or 4-hour time frame. I hope you're getting me. Okay, either wait for price to break out from resistance before you go bullish on DXY, or you wait for a bullish reversal pattern to form on 1 hour or 4-hour time frame. Okay, so for today's market, I'm expecting DXY to be bullish. Okay, expecting DXY to be bullish. So I'm looking for buys on DXY, meaning I would be looking for sells on GU, EU, NU, all pairs have the dollar as the counter, the buys, and the ones that have dollar as the base will be sells. Okay, but for the weekly trend, the weekly trend remains bearish. Okay, it remains bearish. So if we are buying, we're actually trading the pullback XY. Okay, the main trend is still bearish on DXY. I hope that is clear. I hope that is clear. Okay, so let's look at instruments. Let's start with GU. Let's start with the daily time frame. So far, GU has been bullish. I expected this move on GU. Those of you who attended the Zoom session we had last night, so you guys, GU is coming for this high, and that is what is playing out in the market. You can see that it's likely going to come clear the liquidity residing at this high. Okay, and you can see GBP USD has been bullish from this point. So buying GBP USD at this point is very high risk. It's best you wait for price to pull back to a discount area, or wait for price to fill. You can see this fair value gap it has created. Okay, you should wait for price to pull back before you look for buy GBP USD. Okay, the weekly bias on GBP USD is bullish. It is bullish. It is likely GBP USD to come for this relative equal highs. Okay, it is likely GBP USD will come for this relative equal highs. But before it does that, I want to see it pull back, okay, to fill a fair value gap that has created on lower terms. Okay, so you look out for your buy set at a discount area. That's my take on GBP USD. Okay, that's my take on GBP USD. I think buying GBP USD is at a very high risk. Wait for price to pull back to a discount area before you buy GBP USD. Okay, so let's go down to 1 hour. Let's see. Okay. So it is still bullish at the moment. GBP USD is still bullish at the moment. Okay, but I will be looking for sales. Maybe a new direction. Okay, I'm waiting for my bearish setup on GBP USD before I pull the trigger. Okay, that's my take on GBP USD. For sales on GBP USD. If you want to buy, you should wait for price to at least pull back. You can see this broken resistance. Can you see this broken resistance? Okay, wait for price to retest. Okay, before you go bullish, I would suggest you wait for price to pull back and retest this broken resistance support. Okay, let's go down to 15 minutes. Let's see if we can identify a fair gap on 15 minutes time frame. Let's see. So on 15 minutes, you can see we have a fair value gap here. Can you see this fair value gap? So this is the area you should be considering going bullish on. You have a fair value gap here. This is the area you should be considering going bullish on USD, GBP USD. So I'll look for sales to this zone. Okay, I will look for sales to this zone. Here's the ruler. I'll look for sales. I'll look for sales from this area. Okay, so that's my take on GBP USD. Look for sales. Okay, look for sell to this zone. From this is 3182. Let's say from 3175. Ensure you see your setup before you take a sell. Okay, ensure you see your setup before you take a sell. 3175, 3131. That's about 40 pips, 40 to 50 pips. Since there are no major news for today's market, we should expect low volatility in the market. That's my expectation. Shouldn't expect much from the market. And since it's a pullback trade, shouldn't aim for too much. It's a pullback, you shouldn't aim for too much. 40, 50 pips is okay for the day, okay? Good morning, Mr. Daniel. Thanks for joining. If there's any instrument you want us to look at together, please drop it in the comment section. If you have any question, drop it in the comment section. Okay. If you want to be getting signals, free signals, fund your trading account with a minimum of $100 to have access to signals. Okay. Fund your trading account with Oro Market and with a minimum of $100 to have access to signals. Once you've done funding, give me your account details, okay? So that I can add you to the group. Okay, so that's my take on GBP USD. Any question on GBP USD before we look at the next pair? Okay, so Mr. Raphael requested that we look at USD CHF, USD CHF. USD CHF. USD CHF has been in a range for some time. Okay, this is something. Let's go to see daily. Okay, so far USD CHF has been bearish today. It's been bearish today, and it has not. I think. Okay, it has formed a high for the day. Okay, let's see. It's been bearish, but last candle closed strongly bearish. So after the close of last Friday candle, go down to 4 hour, and we are able to identify a bullish reversal pattern on 4 hour. We should be considering going bullish on USD CHF. So as you can see the pattern we have here on 4 hour time frame. We had an inverted hammer, and the next candle closes bullish. That is a bullish reversal pattern on USD CHF. Can you see that? You see that? So we had an inverted hammer, a bearish inverted hammer. The next still close bullish. That tells me demand is increasing and supply is decreasing. Demand is increasing, supply is decreasing. Okay. When demand increases, demand is higher than supply, you should expect price to go up. Okay. So let's go down to 1 hour. So on 1 hour, I would like to see price close above these levels to go bullish on USD CHF. I want to see price close above this level. Okay. So if 1 hour candle closes above this resistance, you can see it has created a resistance here. It has created a resistance here, and you can see since the market opened, it has been struggling out from this resistance. Can you see that? This resistance is a key resistance level at the moment. Can you see that? So if 1 hour candle breaks out from this resistance, that tells us that there are more buyers than sellers, right? So you should look for buys above this resistance area. That's my take on USD CHF. That's my take on USD CHF. Look for buys on USD. Okay. Let's just see what's happening on 15 minutes. Okay, so 15 minutes, you can see price has been in a range. You see, price has been in the range since last, I think, okay, last Friday. Yeah, it's been in the range, and also since the market opened, you can see we have the high here, Asian session high. This is it, and this is the low for Asian session. So you can see what has played out on time frame. So the first thing they did this morning was the liquidity residing at the previous low of the session. Okay, and the next thing they will do is go for the highs a high. So you wait for a candle to close above this area before you go bullish. I think this pullback is to fill this fair value gap. Okay, so they might still want to fill this fair value gap. You can see this fair value gap. And you see the fair value gap, so it's likely price would come fill this fair value gap. So you can look for a bullish setup after this fair value gap gets filled. If this fair value gap gets filled and a bullish pattern forms, you could look for buy, wait for price to come from this resistance before going bullish on USD CHF. Okay. If there's any pair you want us to look at, let me know in the comment section. Drop it in the comment section. Okay. So that's my take on USD Then the next is USD JPY. USD JPY. So let's start with the daily. So far, DXY has been bullish, has been bearish. USD JPY has been bearish so far. It's been bearish since the market opened. So let's go down to lower time frame. Let's see the patterns we have there. So this is the daily time frame. Let's go down to 4 hour. So you can see the pattern we had on 4 hour time frame after the close of Friday candle. You can see the pattern. You can see the pattern we have on USD is similar to what we saw on USD CHF. That should tell you that both pairs are positively correlated. Okay, that tells you that both pairs are positively correlated. By that I mean 60 to 70% of the time, these move in the same direction. 60 to 70% of the time. Okay, so you can see we had an inverted hammer here on 4 hour time frame, and we had a strong push candle that engulfed this inverted hammer. You can see that. So this is a buy, and I think the formation of this candle, the fair value gap was created less than 2 time frame. I think a fair value gap was created on. Let's go to 15 minutes, and that could be the reason for pullback. So you can see on 15 minutes we had a fair value gap here. Can you see that? Pullback would just be to fill this fair value gap. Okay, you can see that price gap, and that could be because we had other gaps below this one I just identified on 15 minutes time frame. You go down to maybe 5 minutes, probably there's a fair value gap below this one I identified on 15 minutes. Recent price broke out from that from this fair value gap. Okay, so you can see the pattern that formed here after the fair value gap got filled, a bullish reversal pattern, and also at this point price came back to clear the liquidity. I'm sure liquidity residing at the Asian low. That was what they did this morning to clear the liquidity. The stop losses residing at this previous low. They know a lot of the traders would have executed buys from this point, and their stop losses will be residing at this low. So I think that was the first thing they did this morning. Liquidity has been cleared, and they are going for buys now. They are going for buys, and they are most likely going to go for the high of the Asian session, which is this. So let's go back to 1 hour. Okay, so we had an engulfing pattern on 1 hour. Can you see this engulfing pattern on 1 hour? So US dollar JPY is bullish. Look for buys. Look for buys. Okay, look for buys. I think US JPY is set for buy. But you might want to wait for price to break out from this resistance it's created this morning. Wait for 1 hour or 15 minutes candle to close above this resistance. But from what I see on 15 minutes and see, so you could just patiently wait for 15 minutes or 1 hour to close above this resistance before you buy USD. And like I said, they might still want to come and fill this fair value gap. They might still want to come and fill this fair value gap. So if you are buying above this resistance, your stop loss should be below this fair value gap. Your stop loss should be below the fair value gap. So you want to know the risk involved on the trade before you execute it. If the risk is too high, if you're not comfortable with the risk, then you should wait for price to pull back. Okay, you should wait for price to pull back if you are not comfortable with the risk. I hope that is clear. So that's my take on USD JPY. Look for buys on USD JPY. Look for buys. For example, if you're taking this trade above this resistance, using the candle, the 1 hour 50 candle that will close above this high, let's close at 1.143.10, 3.10, and you want to set your stop loss this point 143.40. This is 1.143.10 and 142. Your stop loss here. 142.64. That's about 50 something pips risk. 50 something pip risk. Okay. I don't like to take risk above 30, 40 pips. I always like my market risk to be between 30 and 40 pips. So in this case, I would have to wait for price to pull back, probably to clear this low or fill this fair value gap. Okay. Market risk and your capital risk determines the lot size that you should apply on the trade. Okay. Market risk and your capital risk determines the lot size you should apply on every trade you execute in the market. You don't know the risk involved in a trade before you execute it. What you'll be doing is gambling. Okay, that's gambling. If you keep gambling in the market, you will lose money. You will lose money. Okay? So that's it. Any question? Do you have any questions? Is there any other instrument you want us to look at? Let me know in the comment section. Any other instrument you want us to look at? Let me know in the comment section. Let's look at gold. Gold beyond that Forex. Okay, gold. What's been happening on gold so far? Let's start with the daily. So gold was bullish this morning. So we can say gold has been ranging. Gold has been in the range. Okay. So based on what I see here on gold, I wouldn't advise you buy gold now. Don't buy gold. I want to see gold pull back before going bullish. For the week, the monthly, and the daily, I think gold is still bullish. Okay. So when the higher time frame bias or trend is bullish, we want to ensure that every trade we take on a lower time frame is in agreement with that time frame trends. Okay. So you can see weekly also is bullish. Last week the market cleared the liquidity that was residing at this previous high. Okay, and the daily, let's go down to daily. So I would expect gold to come and retest this broken resistance on support. Okay, I would expect gold to come retest this broken resistance on support. Okay, let's go down to 4 hour. So on 4 hour, you can see we have several bearish pattern here. We have a shooting star, we have a doji. Okay, so if the hour candle or 1 hour candle closes below this area, below the low of each candle, I think that would be a good time to consider going bearish on gold. Okay, like I said, the long term is still bullish. Okay, it is still bullish. Short term is bearish, expecting price to pull back to broken support zone resistance. Okay, so if 4 hour or 1 hour candle closes below this low, okay, that would be a good time to consider going bearish on gold. If gold breaks out from this low, it is likely going to aim for the low, which is an area of liquidity, which is, and below the low, you can see we have a fair value gap here below this low. So that will be the next draw on liquidity on gold. The next draw on liquidity. Okay, so that's my position on gold. So for this week, you might want to consider going bullish on gold from this zone. Okay, you might want to consider going bullish from this zone on gold. Exactly. Any question? Any question? Is there any other instrument you want us to look at? Let me know in the comment section. Let's look at GBP JPY. GBP JPY. And we'll look at yen baskets before we end the session. Look at yen baskets. Now, we use the yen basket to determine the direction for Japanese yen. Okay, just as we use the yen to determine the trend or the strength of the dollar, we make use of the Japanese yen basket to define the trend, the strength of Japanese yen. Okay, so GBP JPY, what can I say? Why? Let me look at daily. Daily for GBP JPY has been bullish. GBP JPY has been bullish. Let's go down to 4 hour. Okay, on 4 hour also, this is a buy setup on 4 hour. So GBP is still bullish at the moment. Okay, it's still bullish at the moment. So they are likely going to come for the liquidity residing at this high, and also the liquidity residing at this high. That should be the next target for for GBP JPY. That should be the next target for GBP JPY. And if it breaks out from this area, if price breaks out from this area, then let's go down to daily. Up this time, okay, up daily. So if price breaks out from this zone, then it's likely JPY would come fill this fair value gap. You can see the gap here. Come fill this fair value gap, and also there is a gap here also. So it's likely going to come fill this liquidity void if it breaks out from this high. So I think this is where GBP JPY is aiming for at the moment. Okay, that is what I see on GBP JPY. I think this pullback here was to fill this fair value gap. This pullback was to fill this fair value gap it's created here, and that they have achieved, and price is going up to fill clear liquidity residing at this heights, previous heights. Please, if you are yet to give the video a thumbs up, please do that so that others to see this thumbs up. And if this is the first time participating on this live stream, please subscribe to the channel so that anytime I come on live, you get notified by YouTube. So anytime I drop a video, you get notified by YouTube. To subscribe to the channel. Let's grow the community together. Let's grow it together. Okay. Uh, so let's look at yen basket. Yen basket. So yen should be bearish. We are considering buying GBP JPY and US JPY. Should expect yen to be bearish. And as you can see, so far today, yen has been bearish. Yen has been bearish. You can see that's the reason for the buys on GBP JPY and US JPY. Yen has been bearish. You can see that. So let's just start with the daily time frame. So last Friday candle closed as a shooting star. Can you see that? Last Friday candle closed as a shooting star. Price tested this resistance, and there was a strong rejection from that resistance. Can you see that? You can see the shooting star candle formed after price tested this resistance area. That tells us that JPY is bearish. So let's go down to 4-hour. So at the moment, the market is trading below the low of this candle. You can see here we had a shooting star. You can see we had a shooting star here, okay? And it created a fair value gap. Can you see this? It created a fair value gap at the point. You can see it created a fair value gap. And what happened this morning? Price back to fill that fair value gap. Can you see? And after that fair value gap got filled, what pattern formed there? Can you see what pattern do we have there? We had a shooting star after the fair value gap got filled. So this tells us that JPY, Japanese yen, is bearish. It is bearish at the moment. Japanese yen is bearish at the moment, so it is likely going to come for this low. Okay, likely going to come for this. That will be the next draw on liquidity. That from that low, this will be the next draw on liquidity, and okay, this will be the liquidity, and also this previous lows. So that is likely going to be the target for the week. That is likely going to be the target for the week on JPY. JPY is bearish at the moment. So you should look for USD JPY, GBP JPY, Australian dollar JPY, okay, since the Japanese yen is weak. Okay, so that will be all for this session. I think if there are no questions, that will be all for today's session. Any question, give you like 2-3 minutes to take your questions. So if you have any, just drop it in the comment section. Are you guys still here? Are you guys still here? If you have any question, let me know in the comment section. All right, no question. Appreciate you for your participation. Look forward to having you in tomorrow's session. Have a profitable trading day. Bye for now.